Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and share this until I go and get a little unsettled. I'll be right back.
Of the country lives within its means, just like a
The
person does.
waste is incredible, and nobody
It is.
negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general I said, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s, and the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now,
Wow.
now they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very. I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy
It's
number.
a crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other items.
Multiply it by
the
zillion,
numbers are
and
astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, that's okay. You're all gone. You're all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But, if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to help
by the way,
out.
congratulations.
Yeah.
I just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's awesome.
he's great, and he's a big MAGA fan. You know that he ran on MAGA, and he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like 2,000%.
Exactly.
They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government overspending and not spending taxpayer money effectively, and having just so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Malay is doing is he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense. And Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement in prosperity, but it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. In the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of Everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people, and so I think we should not be complacent in the United States in thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy we can run the country into the ground, and that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run. Sure. And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well. But they'll actually be forced to do better, because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do a good at initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English, as an example. Give us a little English, right?
Sure. Right. No, but I mean, too much. I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean, they got so many people moving out of their state. They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul.
It's actually amazing.
People moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois. So many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, I mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses? And their taxes are already really high. The taxes are among the highest taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job, and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well.
That's the only thing that's going to get them changed.
You remember the area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter and it was very nasty
Yeah.
for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So what is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that, I mean, the larger point here, too, as you're saying, like a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money, and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation. And if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and that's a really big deal.
Well, the people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money and then they got no interest on their money and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. When I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago, when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at it's sticker shock. They call it sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations, so because a lot of the regulations are nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason, but unless you've got effective deregulation, like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation. And if
Elon,
those two things, those are the big deals.
We set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. We had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in, and we had to focus on that, and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a fortune. And then the COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. We got over that bad period where everybody was dying and it was just not a good period. Interestingly, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize more people died during his administration than ours. But it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best. Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about maybe my views on climate change and oil and gas, because I think it's probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard, which is that I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So it's I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry, and the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries. Sure. And it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like we do.
Sorry, y'all. That was just gonna go on and on. I think we know they're gonna bring up climate change. They're gonna bring up all that. How are all of y'all doing tonight? Sorry, it's been a crazy busy day. Packing at my mom's again, and cat hair. Had to take Benadryl. Trying to stay awake. We'll see what happens. And I offered to keep the little one because my daughter desperately needs some sleep. Hopefully she gets it tonight. So they were able to get a feeding tube into my mother, so that's a good thing. The one down the throat, they've been trying to do that for days, and so that's the latest on her. She's still fighting. Ow, that doesn't sound real positive. Just all right. Sheena, I don't know if you're still here, but I'm going to drop the link if you are. Thank you for the prayers always. Thank you, Kiss Off. So, in making all these trips and looking around me, and something amazing happened. The construction company that I used to work for, my boss called me while I was at my mom's and asked me if I would do his bookkeeping again. That his wife, they've been married for about 5 years, 5 or 6. She's been doing his bookkeeping the past 4 years. Apparently, I'm going to get a big old 4-year mess, but it's okay. I can work with that. yeah, a job. And so I'm pretty excited about that because um, the trip to San Antonio every day is like, it's costing some money. And this job, I can work my own hours. It's, when I can't sleep, whatever, I can do it. And so it's a good thing. It'll keep me busy and keep me from doing stupid things. Yes, I've worked for him before. I worked for him for several years doing his books. And thankfully, I kept the file. And so I have um, the documents I need. The, the I do a monthly spreadsheet with Excel, and then I do an annual report, P&L, and balance sheet, just like it looks if QuickBooks was to print it out. But the monthly is the time consuming because you have to go through all the receipts, all the checks, all the it's it's a lot, but it's okay. I need something to keep my mind occupied. So that's a good thing. And making money. So the barbecue sauce will have to be put on hold. That just has to wait. This is for real. Barbecue sauce was an iffy thing. Never know. Um. So anyway, in going around and in seeing what everybody's doing around me and seeing that the jobs are still out there. When the government says they're going to create jobs, I really don't understand what they mean by that unless it's making more manufacturing or something, which is, they keep talking about the climate. Well, we know what the pollution of those big industries does. So I think that's kind of contradictory there. That's my opinion. Yeah, blue. It's I've always enjoyed doing bookkeeping. I've been doing it for years for a few businesses, quite a few. So, yep, get back into that. But in looking around and seeing everybody working, seeing the businesses doing good, support your local businesses, your mom and pop businesses. I think that is the most important thing, and that's how we keep this country going, is to just keep supporting the small ones, the ones that are out there working hard. And that's what I meant by the heartbeat of America is, to me, it's the people that are just out there working, and the families that are staying together, the families that are doing things together. I'm seeing so many involved with their kids' sports. They're just in, sorry, but Texas is kind of all about football. And I don't see nothing wrong with that. The Friday night football games. And oh, cool, Gigi. I can't wait to see it. um, People like, watch, good to see you. I mean, that's, to me, that's America, is the whole living life, people doing things together, people just doing it. I don't even know how to explain it. Is like, okay, in our servicemen, the military, whenever, hey Bruce, good to see you. Whenever we lose one and we're told ahead of time that they're going to be coming this direction, you wouldn't believe all the people that line up to pay their respects. It's that's community. Everyone getting together for everything that is happening in life. And we all share that. I'm sorry to hear that, Anna. I know that a lot of people are struggling with families, and I do. I mean, um, family's family. Boy, today did I go off. and, and I feel bad about it. It was, it, it's probably minor to other people, but at the time, I just felt like my mother told us her wishes before all this happened. And my brother is the POA, and he's doing everything the opposite of what she said. And so I'm trying to be her voice, and she doesn't quite go off like I do, but yeah, I went off. And I don't know. I just don't agree with what he's doing. And oh goodness, Blue, I'm sorry to hear that. I have so much family. It's tons of family. Squirrel feathers. I don't think there's such a thing as squirrel feathers. Yeah. Well, self care is definitely important, and I've been working on that too. Um, and crazy thing is happening. I'm like, I'm getting a suntan. I haven't had a suntan in a few years. I know I have been blessed with a pretty good family, both sides. My mom's side's a little different. Just put it that way. But um, my sister and I are talking a lot more now. She keeps asking about my mom. My stepmother keeps asking about my mom. You know, that's like unusual to me, but I'm so glad. It's because they care about me and the kids, and that's what family does. Is, in my opinion, is when there's troubled times, it doesn't matter who's been married to who or who's related to who or whatever. It's just showing that you care. Yeah. Hello, Bruce. Good to see you.
Hey, I was kind of listening on what's going on here and everything. Had a wild ride last week. Had another bloody nose. Got airlifted to Wichita again, and spent all week up there and came back home. And it's about the second, third time I've been up there because of it. Everything. So I've been having a roller coaster again.
Yeah. I think we're all on a roller coaster. I'm ready for it to kind of slow down a little, but it's okay. You know how some people just work really well under stress? Um, I think that's kind of the way we are. Just
Yeah,
everything going on. Oh, just come on, bring on more. Give me a job.
yeah. You can tell me if you want to and things. I know some stuff about a POA you were talking about a little bit ago about your brother and stuff and things dealing with my deceased wife's deal and everything else like that. I kind of know a couple of ins and outs about a POA. One question: what state of mind is she?
What state of mind is my mother in?
Yeah. Does she know what's going on and can make decisions?
No, no,
Okay. Yeah, your brother can do what he wants to do then.
yes, and he is.
Yeah, but if she ever gets to the point, or any of us, this is just FYI for everybody, if you're still got things fixed up for future with a power of attorney and things, as long as you, the one that gave them permission for power of attorney, as long as you can still make decisions and things like you want the health care, you don't want the health care, all of this, and I want to sell the house and blah, 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 just stuff like that. If you're able to make those sound decisions, that POA ain't worth nothing.
Yes,
Is what it amounts to. So
and
that FYI for everybody. But here's the deal with the power of attorney. Like say your brother has it on your mom, unless it
yes,
stipulates in the power of attorney on what he can do. If your mom passes, that power of attorney is no good because she's no longer here.
right.
So just FYI for everybody, and wanted to get your take on it, Bonnie, and trying to help you.
And I kind of wish she would have made me secondary, because he will be going back to California, and um, there's things that need to be done, and so I don't. Even he doesn't know how to do that, and I'm like, well, what if there was like a petty cash fund, and I scan the receipts, email them to you? I don't know what you want us to do, and so um, that's why I'm so glad for the job. Just do what I can, and I don't know.
How would he approach what he really don't know how to do? How would he approach it? Get somebody else to help him, or get you to help him, or anything like that? Or would he just try to deal with it and handle it the best he can?
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess I need to talk to him in the next couple of days, but it's really showing me how to do my stuff. Um, when you have to deal with it, because I've never done this. It's like, no, I have never done this with, um, so I know my mother, and
Right.
I know what she wants. And so that's what I'm pushing for.
Good
And
for you.
it's, but it doesn't do any good. I really don't have any say. And so, um, that's where it's an issue. And so
Right.
now I know with my kids, and I know which two would be the ones. Um, you can tell whenever things are happening. You can tell who's going to have your best interest at heart. And that is the whole thing of a POA. If you're getting
Right.
a POA, make sure that it's somebody that has your best interest at heart that you can trust. Is the
Right.
whole
Right. But I know I run into a couple little things with my wife where she passed away. She was airlifted to Wichita and when I got there, she needed a PIP line. And she was refusing it and everything. And I just had to get rough with her and everything. Don't you dare leave us now. Your daughter needs you and everything. And well,
yeah,
I had to give her the guilt trip and stuff to cave in because the nurse told me since she's sound mind and can make decisions for herself and refuse that, there's nothing you can do about it until she goes out.
yes. And that's what she was doing with the feeding tube. She kept saying, nope, nope. Well, okay, then are you going to eat food? You have to have some nutrients in your body to be able to fight off all this and get stronger.
Yeah.
And so she finally, they got it in. I don't know if it was yesterday evening or this morning, but took a few. They don't speak as a difference of opinion.
Right.
Um,
But I just learned quite a few things through the journey with my wife and stuff and everything. It's an eye opener, believe me.
mhm. And Gigi, I understand what you're saying. I've been through the same, but at the end of the day, she's my mama, and I have to do what I can for her. It's I can't can't hold any grudges about anything from the past. The past is the past. It's moving forward now, and she has a long journey, and I'm gonna be with her through this journey. I know, Gigi. I'm sorry. I just saw your comment, and that's I hate to see it whenever, um, especially parents and their children get so disconnected. It's That's our foundation. That's our Even if it sucked bad, that's still our foundation. And all the stuff that has happened to me through my life, even that she was involved in, has just made me stronger as a person. It's, well, maybe not totally, but I think that still it's dang sure prepared me for these times, and seeing how we need to come together. And I totally believe in family of choice. I mean, there is other people that are going to be beside you quicker than some family, I'm sure, but um, I don't know. It's still, we got to keep the heartbeat of America going. Dang it.
Amen to that, Bonnie. I totally agree. We all feel like we're boxed in sometimes and
Yep,
everything, but that's what we got to try to keep doing, and hopefully other people will take our lead and help us.
that's how we win. I believe that
Yep.
that is totally it. Is we just keep on living the best life we can. They don't want to see us happy. They don't want to see us living. They don't want to see us enjoying life and the beauty that God has around us. That's why I do all those shorts, is to show how much beauty there is out there. My granddaughter, my hibiscus are blooming like crazy, and every time there's a new bloom, take a picture of it. And so I have all these pictures of the yellow rose bush, the hibiscus, the tomatoes. Whenever tomatoes start popping up on the plants, take a picture of the tomatoes. But those are things she is going to remember. Those are things that I am so thankful that she can see the beauty in it also, the beauty in life. That that I know there's horrible things going on. My news feed has been just going crazy. I've seen the little mobs that they have now that are going in and destroying uh, these businesses, the convenience stores, all of that. I, I don't know where that came from. It's probably a TikTok challenge. I have no clue, but it's we need stricter laws. That is going to have to be. There's going to have to be consequences for those actions. And I don't think they're getting any. In California, making that stupid law of if it's under $1,000, you're okay. That, how ridiculous is that? um,
Going back to your granddaughter and Bonnie, I just want you to know on the way you laid that out there, you have taught her very well, and she will remember that all of her life. And anybody connected to what you're doing with Grandma and everything, she's gonna remember.
yes,
Like I say, you have taught her well, and take care of that. That's what you need.
thank you. I'm trying, but I know she will remember. And that's what I'm trying to do is, well, that's what I've done with all my grandkids, is I have done them exactly like my grandmother did for me. Always been there for them, made sure that they had good, healthy meals. This one's a little difficult with the healthy meals. And so they have these baby, it's in the baby section, but it's a fruit drink, but it's got a lot of vegetables in it. And um, tomorrow, HB trip, I'm going to get the splash ones that have that also. It's like a V8, but with fruit, something like that. And but that's the only way I can get vegetables down. Or I'm trying to figure out other ways. Um, I had some picky kids too, like that, but we'll work it out. Anything's doable, damn it.
Yeah.
Hi, Blackwood.
Hey, Bonnie. Hey, Bruce.
Hey.
I'm pretty sure it's the same down there, kind of a global thing. There's two power of attorneys, financial and healthcare, medical. You need both of them.
Well, he's both.
I mean, the insurance is generally financial, right? But
He's financial and medical.
it's medical. Well, he's got it covered.
Yep. Because he's the smart one and level-headed and all that. And so,
I like the way you said that. He's the smart one.
well, he's the golden child.
Hmm.
I don't know how else to put it. Um,
You'd give him a run for his money, Bonnie.
I'm sorry.
You would give him a run for his money on who's got the better IQ.
Well, I don't know. I know that every doctor and nurse at BAMC knows he's a civil engineer. And he really throws that out there a lot. I don't know. It just, thank goodness for my daughter that she took the pharmaceutical course and is on top of all the medications, what they do, what they don't do, what they can do in a harmful way. Um, so she's on top of that. And uh, that's when she took that course, I was kind of surprised she did it because she was going to be a pharmacist assistant. And um, she came to me one day and she says, Mom, they're just trying to kill us with all these medicines. And I said, you think? That's why it's got that book with every prescription that they tell you, oh, don't read that because it'll scare you. Well, there's,
I heard of one case, the guy, I don't know if he divorced or what. They were older. But she lived many states away, Georgia or something. He was West Coast. And his wife always said there's certain things she didn't want done, clearly. And she noted them when she was well, more or less well.
yep,
But he couldn't implement them. He couldn't get there. I guess she was in a home. So the one redeeming thing was her friend, another woman. She sat there every day and said, "You're not doing that."
yeah,
Kind of a sad story, but there's certain things you just don't want done. I think
yes,
hers was feeding tubes or something. I'm trying to. That was years ago. He told the story. But without her friend, they would have done just whatever. I'm not going to say what they wanted to do, what the system, the normal things.
yes,
You know,
the protocols.
you know, to keep it going.
Yeah, I don't agree with the protocols. Um, actually, I have a video of a doctor. Um, where is it? I'm going to share this video because I think everyone needs to see it. Okay, here we go.
Medicine physicians. Welcome to another video. We have reached a new level of profound wellness, profound wellness when it comes to healthcare and medicine. And this comes from the United Kingdom, the Royal College of Physicians, which is now urging doctors to talk to their patients about climate change. All the million and one issues that the healthcare service in the United Kingdom NHS faces, of which many of my relatives and friends have to deal with on a daily basis, climate change seems to be at the forefront of what the Royal College of Physicians wants to address. Take a look at these headlines here, all about doctors and addressing climate change. Now, to be fair, I was actually proud of the Royal College of Physicians during the pandemic. They were one of the few authorities in the world that came out against mandate for these shots, saying specifically that mandates were unethical, which I completely agree with. Nevertheless, that doesn't mean that everything the Royal College of Physicians says is sensible. And I want to take you directly to their website. And here we have a very recent press release directly from their website. Royal College of Physicians urges clinicians to take climate action. They say that the NHS is responsible for a large amount, 40% of the UK's public sector emissions and 4% of total emissions. I'm not sure about whether those figures are actually correct, but look at their recommendations. Reduce unnecessary prescribing by using shared decision-making approaches because of the environmental burden of medications, generating less waste, limit diagnostic activities where appropriate, advocating for sustainable practices, limiting the environmental impact of travel. What's that got to do with healthcare? I don't know. Participating in sustainable quality improvement projects, communicating with patients about climate change to help them understand how it will affect their health. So this is ridiculous for so many reasons, but let me focus on some here. First and foremost, the logical fallacy of this issue. I should make another video about this topic sometime because it's a huge topic and I've been following the climate change issue for a long time. And I see the same patterns which have occurred in medicine and science since written history began, this mob mentality. There are numerous reasons to question this premise that man-made carbon dioxide is directly responsible for climate change. Lots of other factors could be coming into play. Climate, of course, has been changing for thousands, millions of years. Now, I'm not arguing against the premise that it's good to have cleaner energy, although that often comes at a cost as well. It's not as much of a black and white issue as some people would have you believe, but there are a lot of logical fallacies. And when we look at things through a logical, rational lens, which I always strive to do, away from the mob mentality, which always takes over any movement in medicine and science, you can see that when you build upon a faulty premise, when you build upon faulty logic, all hell can break loose. And we saw the same thing during the pandemic. The fallacy that human beings can control an easily transmissible virus. There are certain things that humans can't control. Climate is a very complicated issue and it has been changing since the beginning of time. So that's the first thing I wanted to say, and I can certainly make a more detailed video on my thoughts regarding that another time. Number two, the United Kingdom as a whole barely contributes to total global emissions, even if we assume that man-made carbon dioxide is the sole contributor to climate change. The United Kingdom is a tiny, minuscule percentage of total emissions. So why should patients in the United Kingdom pay the price for that? That's my question for the Royal College of Physicians. What will denying patients certain tests, investigations, putting forth excuses of climate change for why patients can't get what they want, how will that affect global climate? It's a ludicrous suggestion. And number three, this is my main point. It's a total excuse. It's all smoke and mirrors. There are numerous reasons why the healthcare systems across the Western world are failing. If we take the United Kingdom, obviously I don't practice in the UK anymore, but I grew up in the UK, I trained in the United Kingdom, and I have many family and friends in the UK who rely on the National Health Service. Years of underinvestment, bad management, not having enough doctors and nurses. And I would say doctors and nurses are not completely blameless either in terms of the way they work and the way their unions are set up. Also, ultimately, the fact that we are dealing with an explosion of chronic diseases due to many factors, including a toxic food environment. How convenient is it for healthcare authorities to not deal with those issues, not want to solve those issues, but try to divert attention away to an issue which likely makes zero difference to what they claim to be caring about, in this case, climate change. This is a ridiculous situation and it's a total excuse. And what I would urge any patient in the United Kingdom to do, if you are ever faced with a doctor. It's difficult to even find a doctor to see. But if you speak to a doctor who starts to talk about climate change during those few minutes they have with you, I hope you give them a piece of your mind. What a total clown world thing for the Royal College of Physicians to say. That's all I've got to say about that. Do not let your doctor lecture you on climate change and use that as an excuse for you not getting what you need. Thanks everyone for watching.
Isn't that crazy?
He's good. I've watched quite a few of his videos, Bonnie. That man knows what's happening.
Yep. And but I keep seeing everybody saying what's happening in the UK is coming here, and like you said, stand up to them. And that's one thing that people don't realize. Especially your family physician, you have hired him or her, not the other way around. And so, whatever your needs are, you know what they are. You know your body better than they do. So, don't let them strong arm you into doing anything that you don't feel is right. Just put it that way. Maybe kind of sort of.
But at the same time, Bonnie, how many go to the doctor looking for a cure for the incurable? Got to be realistic. Just saying.
If they're incurable,
Well, you got to be realistic with your expectations. That's all. They're not miracle workers.
no, no, they're definitely not. But the only time I go to a doctor, okay, well, so that's where it all connects together. The Medicare, but because they require an annual wellness check, I guess is what they call it. Once you hit a certain age, I don't know, is it 50, 55? They want you to do all these bone tests. They want you to do all these tests, tons of tests. I don't see any reason for it. If I have something wrong with me, then I go to the doctor. What's up with this? They tell me, or they don't know, whatever, and then I figure it out. The one that who would have thought that the eye doctor was the one that would see me for an hour and know exactly what was wrong with me.
Yeah.
It wasn't my regular physician and the nutritionist. He knows what your body needs for whatever's going on. He can tell if something's inflamed, if you're, and so there's alternatives, is all I'm saying.
That's the point. It's a fine line when you call it primary GP, whatever you want to call it. They can too quickly say, I think I'll send you to one of them, and they can wait too long. That, the good ones know when to send you for a specialist. It's out of their realm, their wheelhouse. It's like you with your eyes. I can see somebody thinking, could it be an infection? Could it be this? To me, if there's too many ifs, send you to someone that knows. Well, but I don't know how your coverage works down there. I mean, at the same time, if a GP sitting there thinking I should send you here, but I know you don't have the $500 to see them. That's reality. That's the reality of it.
I have never been referred to a specialist, except for whenever they said I needed cataract surgery. Well, then it was a surgeon, cataract surgeon, not a, not,
But you said with your eyes, you said that she tried to treat it until your eyes.
yes, the doctor did, and she made it worse. And
That must have been a specialist. It depends what you call a specialist. To me, that's a specialist. That's all they deal with. But anyway,
right, but the whole problem was a vitamin A deficiency. So,
yeah,
and malnutrition.
yeah.
You know, my doctor could see my weight going down,
Mm.
down, and down. And I'm like, shouldn't we be concerned about this? And she was like, oh, I think you're good.
Personally, I got an aversion
Okay,
to
Bruce.
dietitian. Sorry.
I'm sorry. Bruce, you have a good night. Thank you for coming up.
I just have an aversion to dietitians. There are always these skinny little girls, you know what I mean? It says, I know what's wrong with you. I know what you should eat. And I thought to myself, why aren't you eating it? A 25-year-old should not weigh 85 pounds, you know? That's my experience. You know? But anyway,
Well, mine's a nutritionist, and he's a male, and he's not all buff. He's he's got the daddy belly. He's a normal guy. Um, but he does eat healthy. Uh, I don't know. It maybe it's different here and there. I don't know. I he's I just really like him. He's really good, and a visit with him is $35. He'll
yeah,
tell you what supplements you need. He has the standard process brand there, but if you if he's told you what you need, you can go get it wherever you want to. It's not like he's going to make you get what he has on hand. My friend does just because she doesn't want to go anywhere else to get it. It's easier for her. But
well, at $35, I'm sure you got about an hour. That's more than reasonable
yeah,
for you know, today.
and that's the only reason I agreed to a blood test is to see if I'm lacking anything in there also.
But anyway, that's a big topic to go by. I know some people, as you know, that get carried away with supplements. I mean, I really lost it when she brought down a big jar of squirrel feathers and said, "This is good for you. Mix it with marigolds." You know, she said, "What?"
Supplement. Um, well, I don't know where to go with this. Um,
What set me off was that, and you've heard the rhetoric, and it is rhetoric. You know, I'm not going to get into pharmaceutical companies too much. It is what it is, you know, the history of it. But it's kind of like, well, why don't they give me the pill or whatever it is for the cure? And I think to myself, because it's not curable. What? You know, like,
right. But, well, I have to disagree with, okay, I'm not saying that. I'm not supposed to say that.
no, not you. Not. It's just I hear it elsewhere.
Right. In my opinion, it's curable, but there are natural cures. And so I turn to that more than the pharmaceuticals. I'm only on one and trying to get off of it. And believe it or not,
Yeah.
it um,
natural is always better. That goes without saying. You know, if you could
Yes.
eat well, exercise well, everything, you know, you got your best odds of staying healthy as long as you can, whatever healthy is. You know.
Yep. I know these cigarettes aren't healthy, but the more I'm walking, the less I'm smoking. The more I'm doing, the less I'm smoking. It's um, there's ways to cut down that you get stuff done. It's
Yeah.
healthier. It's all
I don't know how long you want to spend, you know, on a great concern. But what you spoke of earlier when you first started out, the Prime Minister of Canada and the Premier of Ontario had an announcement today. You
what's
know,
that?
and the thing that blew me, you know, Goodyear, the rubber band company,
Mm,
they somewhat invested in 1910, 19, I don't know, 70 something, 88, and now today in Napanee. Napanee is a northern community in Ontario, and they're going to expand their tire facility with an investment of $571 million, with $20 million from the government. But you know what it is for? Specifically, that's what they said, to increase their capability of tires for electric vehicles. There's been $43 billion invested into this province from the electric vehicle manufacturers, Japan, Germany, all over the world. And I stop and think to myself, what if they don't fly? You know what I mean? What if nobody buys them? What if nobody can afford them?
yep.
It's supposed to be increase the workforce to 1,000 there, which is good. But for how long and when? The expansion hasn't been done. This is money to, you know, finance. If I know, you know, they want to expand something, want to do this, they pick Napanee plant. So it's going to take years to get that built. You know, I forget. I don't think they said a number of square feet. It's going to be huge. But you know, this electric vehicle thing, I don't know.
I think it's just a crazy thing. I think it. Um, so a few days ago, we had a 5-car pileup on the bridge. Look at my shorts. There's a video of the bridge,
Yeah,
and well, it wasn't on the bridge. It was just on the other side of it. Helicopter landed on the bridge,
yeah,
uh, and so we were down there because cars were backed up a lot.
yeah,
And um, my daughter and her husband, that's the way they go home. So they had seen this backup. My daughter came back and she got me, and we went down there and we were telling people an alternate route that they could take. And after about 30 minutes, then we got word from the police that they said it would be another hour. And so we were telling them, you know, if you have time, want to sit here and wait, fine. But if you want to take an alternate route to go north, this is how you go. And so a lot of people were turning around and going the other way. And, um, but it amazed me at the people not local that were so mad about this holdup, the being stuck there. And so that's why we were telling them an alternate route. But even still, they were like, I don't know what everybody's in such a hurry for. there's not a hospital that way. So it wasn't an emergency that anybody had. I don't know. It just that just surprised me. But it was actually it was Friday, I think. And so it's the beginning of the weekend. They're probably going to the lake or wherever in a hurry to just get there and get unpacked, settled in. I don't know. I don't know. But I saw uh, this idiot, and that's what are people thinking on the roads now? This is a little 2-lane highway that we were on, and double yellow line on a curve, and this pickup truck behind us went to pass the car that was behind us on a curve, crossed the double yellow line, almost had a head on, and I was like, that would have been so bad. I don't know why they just can't enjoy the ride. Why you gotta be in such a hurry? Leave 30 minutes earlier if you're in a hurry. I don't know. I mean, that's why airports have you get there so early, right? Because they know you got to go through all these steps before you can even get on a plane.
Yeah.
Manage your time. Oh,
My understanding, international airports, they tell you be here 2 hours early.
yes.
Going at least 2 hours.
All of our airports are like that,
Yeah.
no matter where you're going.
Yeah. Was that a 2-lane highway each way that you're talking about?
No, just 2 lanes. 1 lane, double yellow line, and the opposite direction lane. It's a little highway.
Okay.
I don't even think it's called a highway. It's a farm road or whatever they call them.
Yeah. Because I know the 401 here, it goes from Michigan, the border, all the way to the Atlantic provinces. Goes forever. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
it's widened, 3-lane, actually 6 lanes, center core and everything. But they're never built, because I experienced what you're talking about. They're not built at what if an accident happened. There's no place to get off. There's no place to get off, because
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of helicopters come down. And you
Yep.
can get rid of the car and have a tailgate party, like you really want that on a Friday night. But they're not constructed. Maybe it's just too expensive. What happens if you have to funnel traffic off of it?
Well, and this is just a country road that so us locally, we knew that it was a shortcut to get to San Antonio if
Yeah.
you were going like over where the medical center is or Lackland or any of that. And so it wasn't well traveled. Well, apparently a whole bunch of people have figured out that that's a shorter way. And they were doing construction right outside of San Antonio on 281. And so people were, I guess, looking for alternative ways to go to avoid that. But now all that's cleared up. So all that traffic should not be on that road now. I've seen semis on that road. That is totally against the law here.
Yeah, but don't you find this a normal summertime thing? They have to do, especially up here. Emergency road repair in the winter. That's all it's for. It's always the summertime, and it's always on the weekends, and it's such something you get used to.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, we don't have a winter per se most of the time. So it's the same year around here.
Yeah, no.
I guess it does pick up when school lets out more. But it's when you get out on that 281. That's the one that, and so the problem is the counties. The counties are blocking the like from San Antonio up. It's divided. They have a divided highway. So there's a median in between. So the traffic is all going one direction, either way. And then once you hit a certain county, then it stops. And it's because that county will not agree to put in that 6-lane or whatever it is that they do, because they're going to go through people's land, and it's where the holdup is. But so I don't see a solution to all these head-ons that keep happening here. I don't know. I don't know if more stoplights would slow them down, but is it the speed, or is it that they're looking at their phone, or
that's a good point.
Just not paying attention? Are they have they been driving so long because it is out in the country that they're like they have that road hypnosis stuff? I don't know.
Kind of like truck drivers that join YouTube panels, right?
Yeah.
Just thought I'd throw that in. We have a thing here, whether it's a 2-digit highway or in Ontario or 4, that's provincial. So we do have what you have with county roads. And of course, they're going through different counties, and sometimes it's money. They don't have the money to, to work on inter-county roads,
And that's what I don't know. Is it each county that has to pay for that? I'm not sure that that's...
Yes, because a province, in our case, province or your state, is not invested in that road.
And Meat Puppet, yep, you heard that dig. You know what? And I think that is why the truckers are the ones that were doing the protests. We wouldn't have anything without our truckers. The truckers are there we go with the heartbeat of America. They are the ones that get the goods where it needs to go. They're the ones that supply our grocery stores. They're the ones that bring in the parts. They're the ones that we couldn't do anything without our truckers. We got to have them. So kudos to the truckers out there. That interview was just over. That's how long it was. Whoa. But I gave y'all Bushcraft's link. And y'all, he was saying he might just do a video of just the interview and just save it.
I won't comment. I don't want the wrath of Khan coming in here. The interviewer did put 2 words in. But anyway, there you go.
Well, I just wanted to see how it went, and he was showing it. It took a while to get in. There was 1.2 million people watching that.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was on Twitter that they were showing it. I don't know.
Nothing really new. I didn't find anything new in it other than, I'm over whatever happened. And
It kind of surprised me. The first part of it, he was talking about the attempt on his life, and um, he said, a lot of blood, lots of blood, you know. And, well, I didn't see that. I don't know, but it's kind of like, but a lot, but okay. I don't
yeah,
know.
if he was shot in the ear, you're going to get a lot of blood. The jugular veins. I mean, there's a lot of blood going up there. I'm just saying.
Yeah. I didn't see it. I just saw a streak. But there may have been, that was just one video I saw. I don't know.
I'm not going to say a word.
Kind of
I'm
true,
still, I'm
Gigi.
still trying to get over my squirrel feather allergies.
It was a bloodbath, Elaine. Really?
Yeah.
I just did. I missed that. Okay.
Well, I did phone the doctor, and he says it sounds like you do know. This time of year the squirrels molt like crazy. And I said I didn't know that. And he said, yeah, they all over the place.
Oh, Elaine, good to see you. Al, good to see you. Al, you don't know what. Oh.
He mentioned something about this time of year they all migrate to Jamaica or something, nonstop or something. I don't know. The same.
Do they?
Yeah, they're squirrels with their feathers.
Oh, I was going to say, I've never been to Jamaica. I wouldn't have a clue what it's like there. I can only go by Cocktail, Tom Cruise.
I love when they show the cops at the intersection. They have the little platform and they do like a break dance with their white gloves, and it looks like, I swear they're swatting all the flying squirrel feathers out of the way. That must be it. Go here, go there. That's all. I've never been there either.
And then I saw the pictures and videos that Gigi had of their trip, and but it's just one area, one resort. I didn't see anything outside of the resort, so I don't know. I don't know what it's like.
You do know who processed Gigi's photos on that? Same guy that did the moon landing. A little grainy.
Oh my goodness!
I don't know if she was really there.
You're just picking on Gigi tonight. Yes, she was really there.
Come up and defend yourself.
And her husband did the swimming race against somebody, and yeah, he is trying to get you to come up, Gigi.
She never told me how her skydiving went.
She's got a video on it. You need to go to her channel and check it out.
Oh, geez, another community tab.
Yep.
All I heard was the audio on it. Something about you can't make me. You can't. Yahoo! Boing, boing, boing. That must have been fun, Gigi.
Yep, she said it was. Now she wants to fly all the time. Excuse me.
You know what gets me about, because they have cameras on some of them, and they might wear helmets. You know, you're on the front. You're harnessed in to a
Yeah.
male or female, you know, professional, so to speak.
They had helmets and they had cameras.
Yeah, but they have, from what I've seen or did see, they don't have face masks, and you see this face like, and I think, how are you breathing out? I know how you're breathing in. You know, you know.
I saw that. I don't know. Because, yeah, it
Well, it's kind of
seems
like,
like
look, she's having fun. Yeah, she's smiling. She can't help but smile. You know.
like the dog when it's hanging its head out the window and you're going down the highway. And their
And for
jaws
the,
are.
the next hour, it's got the same facial expression, doesn't it? It's fun. Yeah, I know
Hey,
what you're saying.
Garrett. Good to see you. Yeah, and I could see that she was having trouble getting her arms to spread out a little bit, but she did it.
I noticed a big cartwheel spin afterwards. Flame out, but I
They
agree.
cartwheel, they do that out of the plane. And she didn't expect that. She thought they would just jump, but they do a flip out, out
Yeah,
going out of the plane.
that's to get away from the wings, the drop to as I understand it. I still adhere to the why would I jump out of a perfectly good aircraft, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, Garrett, I was sharing, uh, oh my goodness, bushcraft, sharing the interview, and then it got a little long, and so we went ahead and went live.
And repetitious.
Rich
Sorry.
Renner and Lot Live. Good to see y'all. The
What?
link came in. Yeah, Watt Live.
What life? You want to come up and throw mama from the train? Hee hee hee. You know. But in any event. No, but I found here, Bonnie, they're banging they're saying they're investing into, not to change the subject back to skilled trades and everything, which is good. But they're talking like 20,000 jobs, and they're talking about putting up 4 houses where there were 1. Yeah, that's great. They got all these vacancies. It sounds like Santa Claus syndrome. You know what I mean? Political Santa Claus. You know, it's just I don't. And all this on electrical vehicles, which mark me if I'm wrong. I think the cheapest electrical vehicle down there is still $30,000. Is it not?
Yes, at least.
The entry G1 or whatever it is 30 grand. You know, I don't think anybody's got 30 grand to pump out at the moment, but you know,
No.
it's just it's been going almost 2 or 3 times a month here, and it's all to do with that.
My youngest daughter had a date tonight. Well, she says they're just friends, maybe. And he pulled up in a Tesla, and I was like,
Yeah,
that's that little bitty car that she's fixing to get in. So, of course, I'm turning to the mom. Well, I'm always the mom, but I'm like, that car is too small. And it's gonna blow up. No, no, no.
but
Oh,
they've tried that. The Ford Pinto, you know, the AMC Gremlin, you know,
yes.
little. My sister almost killed herself on the highway in a Gremlin around 1970.
Yep.
There's nothing there, but anyway, whatever it is. Did you know? I found out last night on a panel. Out west, Calgary, Alberta, province Alberta, they have roundabouts like they do in London. You know, where it's like a mixed master. You know, yeah. I didn't know that.
What do you mean? What's a roundabout?
You know, in England, where it's kind of like a big circle, where you'd have an intersection, you kind of go with the flow and you try to get off somewhere else.
Oh, okay. That's what I call roundabouts with the expressways. Yes.
Well, it's a roundabout. You come to this and you kind of figure, I want to go over to 45th Avenue, so it's on spoke number 5, you know? And it's kind of like, I want to join and get off here.
Yes.
And he says they handle it quite well. You know, but he did, he did. No, I'm not going to say it. Okay, I'll say it. He says, because we talked about 40, 50-year-old men. And he said, 40, 50-year-old men get in there and they get all confused. They cause all kinds of problems. Then you want to get one of these young girls in a hijab, and she's got it nailed because she knows exactly how to do it, quote unquote. You know, that was his expression on it. But I didn't know that. There's pretty well a standard here of highways, but they have roundabouts there. You know, I've never been I've never been west. You know, from here, totally east, everything east from here, but never west. So that was a bit of an enlightenment.
Yeah. It's the same here. I've never been to West Texas. I've been to East Texas, been to North Texas, but not West.
No, I've been all over Ontario, Quebec, New Brunswick, Nova Scotia. I never made it to PEI, or PEI then, but not Newfoundland, across the causeway. I've done every province almost east of here, but nothing west. But anyway. But that's my point. That all these jobs, and they're going to be good paying jobs, and they basically are saying the immigrants will fill them. The people that'll come here.
Exactly.
It doesn't make sense.
That's what concerns me and that's what I was thinking. Okay, in my area, well, the only within 30 miles, the only I guess they call them big box store, whatever, is Dollar General.
Yeah.
And so I don't know. I know Dollar General, that's where everybody goes for their supplies, but I don't see how they stay open because I've known a few of the managers, and the amount of loss from shoplifting or whatever is crazy high each month. So I don't see how they get that to balance out with paying the overhead, the employees. I don't know.
It's kind of like with a population in the town of about 5,000, they open up a Walmart that employ 4,800 of them, right? They kind of, if everybody's at the store working, who's buying? You know, but
Right.
You know, it doesn't make, it's like you say about the electric vehicle. You know, open an electric charging station with nobody. Hey, you can't even import gas for your car. But that's progress.
Which one are you?
Somebody's making a hell of a lot of money out of this.
Yes.
And what I don't like, more or less finish it up, they've already proven about these batteries, how much they cost, if they catch fire and everything else. If you look at Michigan, like we talked about the other night, the legacy of Henry Ford.
Yep.
It's a polluted state. Ontario has a lot of water. What's going to be the end result? Another Michigan from 2008, you know? But,
yeah.
You know, if it buys votes, okay.
Excuse me. I saw an interesting, the security guard that was killed. What was that? Oh, it's been a little while back. But anyway, on the side, he was working on uh, water run vehicles, maybe. Kind of like, just made me go, interesting. But Canada is water. The flag is on Canada. I didn't know that. I didn't know Canada had so many waterways. I haven't really looked at a map of y'all. I don't. I don't know what.
Ontario in particular. That if you go up to Georgian Bay area, there's 10,000 waterways up there alone.
Yeah.
You know, land of 1,000 lakes, and and Ohio is quite big, but
yeah.
You know,
well, we don't have the Great Lakes or anything like that, but we've got rivers and lakes all around.
Yes, you do. You own half of it. The line runs right through the.
That's well, they're way up there. They're not. I'm just talking all around me. There's rivers and lakes.
Yeah.
And even where if a town is low on water, because we didn't get any rain or something, because we depend on the rivers, and so if they get low, then they will pipeline from a lake to the town to get them water.
Yeah.
Speaking of Ford, today in 1908, Ford Motor Company built its first Model T car, which Henry Ford himself first tests on a hunting trip to Wisconsin and northern Michigan. Cool.
As I understand it, if Lake Tahoe goes down a significant amount, the impact of that is tremendous. So many rely on Lake Tahoe.
Yeah. Well, we have several. I mean, it's doable. It's a long pipeline to run it, but if they can do it that distance, it'd be about the same. They can do it. They can do almost anything. But what you were saying a while ago about the trades, definitely. And like, we have one plumber and he is totally overworked.
Yeah.
So another plumber would be great. Or it's a big, horses and cattle are big around here. So anyone that can do farrier, that a blacksmith to do the shoes, leather workers to do the saddles, the reins, the everything. I mean, I would love to see everything go back to American made, and that's what I keep um, telling my grandkids when they're talking about careers or whatever. I'm like, find a trade, one that you're interested in, and that's because my son was an artist. He's into welding. He can do an amazing bead, and it's because of the art that he had done, I believe. And that's why I'm all for the pushing the arts and music and all of that too, because it leads to other things. I think people who can write songs would do better in um hi Ronan, in excuse me, English, because they're and I'm sorry, but music is part of that heartbeat. Music tells a story. It's the beat. It's the it can change your mood. It can it can you could just message somebody just song and get your point across.
That can be a very powerful medium.
Yeah.
You let it.
Today in 1930, Clarence Birdseye is granted a patent for a method for quick freezing food. Cool. That's always so.
You know the equation that has to be solved, not just for America, for every country, really, for the most part. The balance between the minimum wage and being able to survive. And until that equation is settled,
Cindy,
you won't have American made, Canadian made, you won't have all this.
wait, what do you mean by equation? What I miss?
Well, it's simple. Am I getting enough money to survive? It's a common thing. It's like I told you, I used to go to Buffalo, in the 70s. I think in the 70s. And you kind of go down there and you got these old ripped running shoes on, you know what I mean? You know, hobo. And you go to the clearing centers down there. And you had to convince customs coming back, you wore this brand new jacket down there, your brand new jeans, your brand new running shoes, right? And you didn't buy them there, 6 hours ago. And inside Reebok, whatever, the sizes were UK, USA, maybe Japan. All that's made in China or somewhere. You didn't want to spend the $30.
The problem is, okay, here I go into a long one. Today in 1955, U.S. President Eisenhower raised minimum wage from 75 cents to $1 an hour.
Yeah.
So there you go. So how long ago was that? That's 1955. Over 50 years. Still, what has happened is the economy has gone up so ridiculously high.
Yeah.
That they have upped the price on everything astronomically quick. And so to meet that expense with pay, all we're doing every time we up the minimum wage, all it's going to do is up the cost of anything in the economy, the goods, the housing, the whatever. It is going to just keep going up. So upping the minimum wage is not the answer. I don't think it's like, no, we've got to knock this back down again somehow, some way, because it's just going to keep expanding. It's just going to keep. When's it stop? How is it going to stop? People can't make enough money to even support that idea that you just keep going up.
Yeah, but consider this.
Am I saying it?
Maybe I should go find my godfather, because in 1962 he was paying me 75 cents minimum. But the point is this: what if was a presidential, it doesn't matter who. The economy is doing fairly well, so we're going to give you a leg up. We're going to give you 25 cents an hour more. Maybe it's the company's going to say, oh, they got $50 more. We're going to raise everything $50.
Exactly.
Every time the little guy gets the money, the big guy's saying, oh, I can raise it another,
That's what I'm saying.
That's
But
exactly it.
it's usually higher than what that raise is. Like,
That's it.
the raise may be 50 cents, but then the economy is going to up everything $1.
Well, my point is maybe the raising of the minimum wage is not in reaction to inflation, but to give you a little bit of leg up, a little bit
But
of a little bit of breathing room. And
But it doesn't.
these companies rip you off for it. If you look at it, I've spent a little bit of time through the years looking at it. And if I make 2% more, prices go up 4 or 5.
That's what I'm saying.
The next day.
So it doesn't give you a leg up. It's putting you further in debt. It's making you struggle even more. And that is the whole, I think, plan of this, is to just make it to where we can't even live. That I can remember, okay, I know a lot of people talk about the Depression, but even since then, I can remember in my lifetime that people, the elderly people, were eating cat food or dog food, or, going where they could get these little 50-cent cans of food. Yeah. And who knows what's in that crap? I don't know, but I don't want to see people doing that, and we're well on our way. A lot of people are. A lot of people are having to ramens. There is nothing healthy about a ramen, and it's cheap.
Or a bison burger too. You won't go there again.
Yes, a bison burger is healthy, but a ramen doesn't have any nutrients. It doesn't have any protein. It doesn't have anything valuable in it.
No.
But it's cheap, and it's something to put in your stomach.
Exactly.
And so people will buy it.
Well, my point is the companies would say, you just put it up 25 cents an hour. We got to pay that. But that's not 4%. Their justification doesn't ride.
No, it doesn't.
It's profiteering. It's shareholders. Honestly, I'll get into it a bit. Cap rate companies, Capital Real Estate Investment Trust. These are just people. They don't want to invest 401k, T4 RSP, whatever you want to call it. They don't want 8% or something. They want 18% return. And sometimes they're just like you and I. They have a few bucks and they're not satisfied with a normal return. That's what's wrong with capitalism a bit. When you look at it, it's never enough.
Right.
Never enough. And you got to be reasonable about it.
Because they make
they bellyache about the high risk. I don't know. It's a conundrum.
In what life exactly? When they're sending pallets of cash everywhere but here. Challenge, Ronan. You coming up? Elaine wants to hear your explanation. What life's been. If somebody's hungry and I'm able, I will definitely get them something to eat.
You're going to have a bison burger?
We have a little food library, and so if there's something, if we have extra whatever, we'll go put food into that food library. Or some people will just swap out. oh, hey, there's spam in there and I have this, so I'll put this and take the spam. And it's continuously added to. And even when I cleaned out the pantry, with all the girls living here, there was foods that, I don't know, that they got, nobody's going to eat, whatever. And I'll load up a box and take it to the laundromat, and it'll be gone like that. I've taken boxes of books to the laundromat. People take those. Um, we did have some bins for clothes, but because people kept making a dump out of all the way around it, with they would take down mattresses, furniture, everything, and put it beside those bins, and it just looked like a junkyard sitting there in that parking lot. Well, they took the bins, and that's a lot of people will ruin it. Not a lot, a few will ruin it for all by just doing stupid things. But the majority of people do not do that.
No.
Yeah, well, blessing boxes. That's a good name. Yeah, I don't give to organizations either. Indy, I'm glad you're close to getting moved. Yep. And I I wasn't even thinking about my son-in-law and daughter working in a restaurant. And so I had a bowl of eggshells on the counter that I was adding to crush up to put in the gardens. And when my son-in-law came to cook, he thought that it was trash and just threw them away. And I was like, "Where's my eggshells?" And then he said, "I threw them away. I thought they were trash." And I said, "No, it's for the garden. And it takes me a little bit to get those eggshells built up." And so he's like, all of a sudden I get this big bowl of eggshells from the restaurant. And I said, well, I didn't even think about that. Okay, do you have access to food grade buckets and jars? And he said, I have gallon jars, glass or plastic. And I said, both, please. Because the glass jars, I can do the water bath eggs in them, and the plastic ones, they'll get used. that's, that's all I'm saying. It'll all get used. Hey, John, good to see you.
That's rather odd because I can go back to when I was growing up, eggshells went in always. Didn't throw them out.
Eggshells went in what?
For the garden.
Yes. And he wasn't even thinking of that. And I told him, I said, actually, I want all the scraps too, especially vegetables. And then I can get the seeds from the scraps. And also, if it's like green onions, I can starts from those. It, and that's, I mean, it's there and it's available. So why not get it and use it? And I think that's where it's it's getting him thinking, also him and my daughter, about, wow, these things can be used to keep producing more food, and so they don't see it as waste like they were. And restaurants that's a lot of waste that they do when you think about it. And if they would just start a compost out there even, and that's what I would like to do here is start a compost. Yes, coffee grounds. I have been, I know it's wasteful, but for whatever reason, there was a jug of decaffeinated coffee on my front porch, and I think the girls like bought it by accident because they don't drink decaffeinated. I do, but since I don't even know how long it was sitting out there. It was in one of my planter pots, and so I didn't know it was there. And so I have been brewing that coffee to use the grounds and the coffee in the plants also, because you can use the coffee in there as well.
Wait a second. You told me you don't drink tea or coffee.
I don't, but I'll brew it for the plants.
Okay.
I mean, it was just sitting out there. They were going to put it in the trash probably. I don't know how long it had been out there.
Yeah.
Excuse me. When you have a bunch of girls living here, there's no telling what's what. I would see something and I'm like, huh. That's all you can say is, huh. Wonder what was going through their head when they did this, or
I tried that composting thing, and what I found,
in
you know,
swap.
you recycle it and use it. I still had too much of it. I pulled the whole thing out. My father finally pulled his out. It's just too much, you know, for what you're using for house.
Well, I've got, oh goodness, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Um, right around 10 containers of stuff growing, and so I will definitely use it. I mean, I need to figure out what to put the compost in so it's contained but airy. It seems like my grandmother just used chicken wire, but I can't remember how she got it out then.
Mhm.
But that's where the best squash, cucumbers, all of that was growing out of that wire. I remember outside the fencing, we were picking vegetables out off of there also. And because it's all, yep, banana peels too. Absolutely. I saw a video where they just stuck a banana in dirt and grew a banana tree.
That just became a big thing in the subdivision in the 70s. They couldn't keep enough composting containers in. And everybody said, "What are you going to do with your compost?" I don't know. Me neither, right? Take the thing out. It was just the in thing to do. No, but anyway.
The in thing to do is to take out the compost.
No, the in thing to do is I got a compost thing in you know, a container in the corner of my yard. Don't you? Everybody has a compost container. So they figure out the compost that came out of it. They got no place to use it. Really, that's what it was.
But you can use it on the grass or whatever. It's
Well,
good.
there was just too much of it. There was just, believe me, there was just too much of it.
I can't imagine that. Wow.
But in any event, that's kind of what it. the status quo. How many containers do you have? You just couldn't use enough of it, Bonnie. It was just too much.
Oh, okay.
It was just, overly done.
Yeah,
But
I don't know. Don't know. So, do y'all have barbecue get-togethers up there in Canada?
the what?
Do y'all have barbecue get-togethers up there in Canada?
Um,
Is barbecue a thing up there?
they started, what should I call it? More or less in the 70s became bedroom communities. That's
Thank
what
you.
they call them, subdivisions, and you get into it and you're kind of going to the country, with that feeling. And, but I found when your children are young, they get a permit, and they get one court and they'd have fireworks. They have certain designated adults to do it. But as the years go by, that's all gone. You don't have the community thing.
Oh,
In bedroom communities, it's an apt description. You go to work, you go through the city, you come home, you go to bed, you do the same thing, and maybe on the weekends you do something. But where I went was, quote, a small town, and it was good. It was in the beginning, in its original 10 or 15 years, it was really good.
yeah.
But then you move to another one, and the whole cycle starts again. And haven't got another 10 or 15 years, you'll never know if you have the community thing you're talking about, where people get together and
Yeah.
barbecues or whatever it would be.
Oh, anytime we have a get-together, there's barbecue. And there's not a night goes by that I don't smell somebody cooking out on a pit
Yeah.
here. It's just, because it's so hot. You don't want to cook in your kitchen and heat up the house any. Definitely don't want to bake. Um, I mean, sometimes I do, but I try to do where it's just needs to go in the oven to melt the cheese or something, where it's just real quick.
I find the Australians do that a lot, but in my experience in the part of now Toronto that I grew up in, you had cultural exchanges. So in the initial part, when the Wasps moved out, that's what they were. The Italians came in, and they always renovated their basement. That was a summer kitchen, but they did. It wasn't community driven. You know what I mean? Every Italian had a normal kitchen for the winter, and then the summer one downstairs. But there's no interactions. You know what I'm saying? Of what you're talking about, because of shift in cultures. Even in big cities, you get that. As I understand now, it's more Chinese down there, which I'm not coming. It is what it is, and so they don't mix. That's what I'm trying to say. You might have the Texan culture, and it's all common.
See, we have a pavilion at the park, and there's pits all around it, and in the pavilion is a sink with running water, and so a lot of potlucks are held there. Everyone bring a side or bring some meat if you want to, or whatever, to put on one of the pits, and everyone just gets together and visits, and it's not always family, it's community. I don't know. um so that's why I'm like, I guess different cultures, different areas, do things different. And I know y'all don't live in igloos. You know what I mean? I'm just,
But what I found was it kind of revolved around children. But then you had a great number of quote professional couples. They didn't have children. If they started with children, they moved away. My experience, the Santa Claus parade was quite something. All the kids out there sitting on the curb and, the Shriners driving around. But once that shifted, it all went away.
yeah.
You had nothing, no venue for it. And
And that's another thing we have is movies at the park. Every so often, they'll they'll put up a big screen and show a movie, and we just sit in the on the lawn, bring your chairs, whatever. Same with at the courthouse. They'll have them at the courthouse sometimes.
yeah.
So the community can just get together and watch a movie, and someone will have a popcorn machine there and drinks, and it's, I don't know, I love it. It's, I love the way that we just always find time to spend together in some way.
Yeah. But that's the most remarkable thing I notice is people working in, downtown or whatever. And as soon as it came, I want to live outside of it. I don't want the hustle and bustle. That started bedroom communities and everything. Everything just wasn't what it was.
Right. And I can see that in a big city. Sort of. I mean, when I was growing up in the big city, I guess it was different than now.
Definitely.
I haven't lived in the city in too many years to count. And so it would drive me crazy, I think. I'm so used to the wide open
Yeah.
and the no traffic, and
Yeah.
weekends you're gonna fight traffic, but I don't know. I can't imagine it.
The small town thing is very hard to keep going because more and more people went into it. And I think I told you the mayor of Whitby tried to say, if you're going to put in that big subdivision, you're going to widen the street. The developer, you're going to pay for this. But then the Municipal Board of Ontario overruled it. Whoever paid that off. So the point is, everything of this small town was gone. It's like, well, we got an acre of land here. We can put up 4 houses. That's the mentality.
Yeah, that's bad.
Rack them and stack them. But anyway.
Yeah, I'm not letting them put up any. I have half an acre, and for me, it's huge. Just getting somebody to mow it. My mower didn't show up Sunday, actually. I need to find out what happened with that. Hire someone else.
I remember my daughter said to me, you want to go from Whitby to Newmarket. So it's about 45 minutes outside an hour by the main routes, like the 401 and yada. So here's the back way. I kind of wrote it down and everything else. 2.5 hours later, I showed up in Newmarket. I went about 5 counties and up and down, I did see an awful lot of nice cows out in the fields. Yeah, what did you get?
Yep.
So next time I went by the highway. But
Well, like I did. It was
scenic road.
yeah.
I did get there about 2.25 hours later. But anyway.
I love the scenic route. When we went to Kentucky, on the way back, we took a wrong turn, And then I got to see the scenery of Tennessee instead of the main route. And Tennessee is beautiful. And then Arkansas, we didn't do that there. So I don't know if Arkansas is beautiful or not.
Well, what happens if it's a flashback to Route 66? You're now looking at less than an eighth of a tank of gas. And you remember the sign that said, last fuel stop for another 600 miles, you know? Like,
Mhm.
you know? I mean, when an Amish wagon and horse go by you at a faster pace, you know you're in trouble. Yeah, like, you know, scenic routes.
Blades on the scooter. Yeah. When I first moved here, I was like, okay, we need a riding mower. And then I got sick, so that was out because I was the one that wanted to do it. I love riding around on the mower, but I know it's more beneficial to use a push mower. But my front yard, you have to use a push mower, and the dog yard, you have to use a push mower. But the rest of it, you can use a riding mower.
I'm curious at your cookouts. You ever get somebody who gets carried away? He's got
What do you mean?
50 pounds of chicken. You know, they go to the butcher, they get, you know, like 60 pounds of steak. He had a whole pig on the rotisserie. They got a bonfire the size of Mount Olympus. And they have hot guests. You know, like, what? Who's going to eat this stuff?
It's freezable. It's leftovers. It's feed you for a week. We always cook way more than we need because even like, okay, if I stay here taking care of my granddaughter, the kids are doing the moving and the whatever they're doing, and I know they're exhausted. Okay, come here and eat because I'll have something for them. Food will get eaten. And if not, if you have a neighbor, take a dish over. They appreciate that. My other neighbors that were renting, they're they're like the closest to me. We got a basketball court in between us, but we used to do that all the time. If she was making something and she had a bunch, if she would bring some over, and if I was making something, I'd take them a casserole dish or something over, and and then her husband would be beating on the door. Do you have any more of that? What was that? Okay, give you the recipe.
Yeah, but you don't. I'm talking about the guy that's a weekend barbecuer, right? With
Mm-hmm.
his brick thing, and you know what I mean. They shove.
I don't know why he has a bonfire going if he's barbecuing.
Yeah, but I mean, he can't make a hard boiled egg in the house, but he's got 100 pounds of meat out there. You know, don't stop me. I'm on a roll. You're throwing stuff over the fence to the dog next door, right? You know, like just get carried away.
Well, I have seen where people will cook up all their meat and then freeze it because then it's already cooked. If the electricity goes off, whatever, it's already cooked.
But anyway.
And now, different people do different things.
I mean, the way I did it, you get the little barbecue out, in the summertime. And those little white cubes you put in to get them going?
Yes.
Well, I
Yeah.
have a few bags of the charcoal, right? So I
Yeah.
figured this thing's taking too long. So you get the liquid fuel out, you kind of spray it, and the thing's about 6 feet in the air. Then you realize you just burned all the charcoal down again, right? So you get another bag of charcoal. And by the time the sun goes down, you say, it's ready. Everybody's in bed and the steak's in the fridge.
Oh my goodness. Okay, I haven't had that issue. That's when you know your pit and how much charcoal it's going to take, how much wood, and get it going good. And that's all my boys. It's a big competition between them. They all think that they can barbecue the best, and so we got sauces going on the stove, and because chicken takes a different sauce than beef does, and it's just it's fun. Hey Eric, good to see you. Did you get anything in the mail yet? It should have got to you by now, I think.
Things just change when you get older. Here, even in a larger city, everything worked when you were young. And it just,
Elaine, no one is leaving because of you. I'm boring. Excuse me. Please don't leave, but if you are, you have a good night.
welcome back, Eric.
That'd be fun. I'm gonna have to do a haul. Dang it. I was covered in black hair and cat hair. It was it was bad. So we're trying to find someone that can clean the vents, clean the whole
Yeah.
unit thing, everything out there that we know is just full of cat hair.
I'm wondering what your town is like on Saturday night. Is it one of these everything closes at 9 or
Oh
8?
no, no. There's a couple of them that even stay open till 2 a.m.
Oh boy.
Yep.
I think I told you about it has a name of a town north, about half an hour north. It's a very long drive when you look at it. But the whole town was run by a drag strip. This one guy owned that and then moved out. But it's kind of, it's kind of like you go to the water box and that's Uncle Fred with his broom, right? Like this is his passion. You're sitting there ready to go into it. And you kind of, where did you get this guy? It's like, where'd you get this guy? That's Uncle Fred. And there's one steakhouse, and that's it. If they're not open, the whole town, you know what I mean? It's just like they shut off the generators and it goes dark.
No, we have so many places to eat. We have breweries. We have wineries. There's if you go for a drive, there's bowling. There's movie theater. There's dancing.
That's not too bad. But you know what I mean? These towns where it just like.
I've seen towns that roll up the sidewalks at 9 o'clock.
Mhm.
That's not around here.
I swear, if it was a burger joint, you went there and you said, "Why is my burger?" Because Uncle Fred's working there after the track, and he's tired. You know what I mean? Like everybody's, you know. But
Yeah, and we can go about 25 miles to a 24-hour. What is it? I guess McDonald's. I think some of the Whataburgers are 24 hours. I don't know.
I don't know. It's just my experience, you know. This is the big meet of the year, and we're still closing the town at 8 o'clock, right? You know, like what?
No.
And this
And
was.
we have two 24-hour convenience stores,
Yeah.
and one of them is one of those that has the it's like a salad bar. It's got like fruits and cheesecakes and stuff like that. And then they have a heated cabinet thing, and they always have like burritos, corn dogs, stuff like that in there that's hot. Sometimes they'll have a rotisserie chicken, and I'll grab it because you can use a rotisserie chicken for everything.
No, I never. I don't know if it's had a friend of mine, and of course she moved in with a woman. His life changed, his kids, whatever. So he never got that close. But he says, "I got a ticket. I got a ticket for." He had to pay, but free, all you can eat buffet, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I thought I'm down for that, and it was kind of a Chinese influence, although they had roast beef and whatever. And in the center of it is all the stuff, the food, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like Paris. It's like the spokes of a wheel. You know, they don't have numbers on them, but this is where you eat, right? It's kind of a normal doorway. But the
You
thing,
eat at
but
the food bar.
the thing was though, Bonnie, they put mirrors in there. So I wander out for another plate, right? And you kind of go through the thing, whatever you want. You kind of think, okay, fine, because you're kind of going around and around. You lose your orientation. Now I'm looking at him smiling at me in 10 mirrors. The food was cold by the time I figured out what room it was. What is the like put up A1, A2. I'm serious. It had all these mirrors reflecting, and he knew it. He's smiling at me, but it's a reflection 10 times over. And I said, if you ever do this to me again, I'll kill you. But that was, it's a maze.
We don't talk about killing people. Just saying.
You know what I found the worst in more or less New York, upper New York State, and that is Denny's. Denny's for breakfast. And it looks like the eggs in that can bounce off the wall. And it's like a plumbing system under everything, right? And it's like no more Denny's. One place that was really cool down is Ruby Tuesdays, that restaurant chain.
I haven't heard of that one. I think they got rid of the Denny's that was closest to us. Jim's is my favorite place to go because they have everything and they serve breakfast all day, and it's 24-hour also.
Yeah.
So you can go in at 3 o'clock in the morning and get your steak and eggs or whatever.
One thing I never had is steak and eggs.
It's pretty good drive.
The one thing I found in that town was just, it looked like 2 or 3 houses put together on a corner. And there's a little entranceway on the side. It was a mom and pop thing. And a big room with, mismatched chairs and tables. But as best meals you ever had. Restaurant chains.
Mm-hmm.
But,
I don't know either.
The last Ruby Tuesdays I went was all racers, right? And that guy that died, I told you about, kind of was on him, you know what I mean, for the most part. And he had his secondary driver and his son and everything like that. And they weren't rowdy. They weren't really drinking because you don't, you know, the racers don't drink. But they had this young female waitress. Just like the kidding and back and forth and yahoos and everything. She ends up going in the kitchen in tears. I guess the owner thought, well, I'll send out, you know, the guy, right? The tough guy. He ended up throwing his hands up, going, walking away from them. And at the end of it, he goes up and pays. I mean, it was well over $1,000. And he handed $1,500 bills to the guy. Said, that's their check. I remember that night. It must have cost him $5,000 in there. I don't know if the kids, you know, $750 tip would be enough for, I'm not doing this again. That was a fun night.
Yeah.
Ready?
I'm going to close this one down. I'm going to play a song that I'll probably get copyright for because I couldn't find a cover for it. But oh well. Same thing as always, right? So here we go.
Well, that's like your video about, was it the drones fireworks? I more or less went through that when you know, a kid can come out with a 6-inch cannon. You know, it's about 3/4 inch, like red, like dynamite. To the time when my daughter was growing up, and you have these guys do that street thing, completely nothing of what they ever were, and probably for rightly good reason. You know, they were too powerful. But anyway.
It's a ball cap in his right hand, looking up at the sky, praying for rain, but hoping it stops before the game on Friday night. It's the home team in the whole town, showing up in the stands. Hand on your heart for the stripes and stars fight song from a marching band. It's a wave at a red light, everybody knows your name. It's a boy and a girl in a Chevy truck, John Deere green, kicking up dust, living those words from a song they're playing on the radio. Generations deep running through these roots, what your daddy did is what you do. If you ask me, that's what makes the heartbeat of America. It's a Main Street parade for the ones who made it back home, and a moment of silence for the ones too soon gone. It's a God-fearing mama trying to raise them right, sunset falling from a water-tight sky. Whatever keeps that dream alive, you can find it here. It's a boy and a girl in a Chevy truck, John Deere green, kicking up dust, living those words from a song they're playing on the radio. Generations deep running through these roots, what your daddy did is what you do. If you ask me, that's what makes the heartbeat of America. It's a preacher and a Bible, a little church on the hill. Amazing grace, Jesus saves, and God we trust still. It's a boy and a girl in a Chevy truck, John Deere green, kicking up dust, living those words from a song they're playing on the radio. Generations deep running through these roots. What your daddy did is what you do. If you ask me, that's what makes the heartbeat of America. Of America. Of America.
That's it. He puts it all in there. And that's what I was saying. That's how we get them. Is just keep living life, doing the things, working the jobs, but making it family, God, country, all in one. It's celebrating America. Just keep the America we know in your heart and keep celebrating it every day. Just by living life to your fullest, staying healthy, being around other people, go to the games, go to the picnics, go to the anything that you can find that's going on. The outdoor movies, anything that they're doing. Living life, enjoying it. That's all we can do. Can't change anything that they're doing. I know one thing, we don't need that government. They're not the ones ruling our life. Only we can. And we got to stand strong. And the more you can get away from it, do it. The government. All right, y'all. Hope to see you again soon. It was a little different tonight. Sorry about that. But I enjoyed your comments. Thank you all for coming in and speaking your words. Thank you, Al. Have a blessed night. Stay safe. I'm going to bubble wrap everybody. Hope to see y'all around somewhere. God bless you and good night.
Good night, everybody. And remember, you too can be a Weisenberger.
Oh, would you stop?